Now I would like to ask Elysa Wendi. I will write her a message.
I'm here.
Yes. So welcome, Elysa Wendi. I'm very happy that we can be with you in this virtual space. It's I guess that you are in Hong Kong. Is it right?
Yes, I am in Hong Kong.
And you have almost midnight. So thank you for being able to be with us in this nightly hour. And we will be speaking about your film, Stay If You Can, Go If You Must. And I would like to say to you the same as to Mike, thank you very much for your wonderful film. I was I was really captivated by it from the first moment I saw it. It's in my point of view, it's quite conceptual. It is a portrait of two Hong Kong artists, female artists, and they are represented in certain environment or in connection with certain natural entities, with ice and mist. And could you please first tell me? I'm very much wondering if the concept of the film is also directly connected with the way how the artists work and how they think about their artistic works, or if this was completely your concept that should have brought other other meanings and maybe more your interpretation of what is their background and what is in their artistic works. So if you can please tell us more about these two artists and then to say if the concept of the film was motivated by their creative procedures or approaches.
Okay. Actually, originally the film, it's was a commission to make portraits of Hong Kong artists. So it was very short, 2 minutes of portraits of each of them. But as I was working with them, and for me, there are portrait is how I want to remember them, and how one person is remembered. So one of the artists, her materials in her work is using ice, and the other artist, she is a drummer. She played drum as part of her performance in her theatrical work. And yeah, so when I was making this portrait, I talked to them a lot about what is their feeling about the current movement in Hong Kong. The you know what I meant.
Sure, of course.
Yes. So it was really it's difficult to separate that. I think it's, for me, it get connected as to what they feel and what they see, and also about their working materials. That, so in the end, the film is also my personal emotion together, mixed together with what I get reflection from them.
I see. And so because this motif of connection with the current situation and current events in Hong Kong, it is stressed out also in the synopsis of the film. I have to say that if I don't know anything about the film and I just watch it, it wouldn't be too obvious, but I very much like the films that have this hidden layer, and it is hidden in, not hidden, it is prescribed in the concept of the film, that also this level of meanings is part of the message of, or of the purpose of the film, and that's really that's really great and important, that it was one of the things that I considered important about this film, that it's some message about how do you perceive the current atmosphere and the current events, but it is not explicit in the way that there are no reportage images of the protests and no interviews of what is happening, but it's more on the intuitive or emotional level, like what we feel in this kind of situation. And I'm wondering if these two artists that you are portraying, are they is their art like activistic or socially committed, that is it the purpose of their artistic work to address the social and political questions?
I think the drummer, yes, but not the other one. The other one is a choreographer. She is actually, it's very interesting because the one of them, I should not name, but one of them are very actively in front, like go to the front line, being there in every protest, being there for all the time, and very vocal. And while the other one behind the eyes, she cries a lot, and she is always very passionate about this, but she never goes out, but she has this sadness and fear, almost like how I portrayed, like that she just have this fear and she couldn't go out. And in a way, many of us, of course, most of my friends are very supportive of the movement, but there are some of them, they are not able to go out. Either they are for certain personal reason or certain emotional reason. So I think for me, I want to shoot this part because I think mostly that's what we cannot see in the television. Of course, those are important totally, but I think for me, I relate this small parts of emotion very strongly, when especially for this artist.
Yeah, I think that it really, on this intuitive level, I think that it really works perfectly in the film. Especially the ice wall, and the proximity to the face that is almost touched, and all these like very slow movements to more and more proximity. It's very strong in the feeling for the audience, or at least it was my audience experience, that I really felt like that she is entrapped, trapped in some trap, really in close in a way, but also the ice is transparent, not completely. There is some texture, some pattern, but it is transparent, so she can see and we can see her, but still it's this feeling of like everything becoming smaller and smaller and suppressing you more and more. This for me it was a very, very strong experience. And I want to also ask you about there is also this subtle sound of breathing, and it's in some parts it is rhythmical, then it is arrhythmical. Was it did you want the sound to be more accompanying the image, or does it convey some message for you either?
Because the kind of material I use, I normally use the voices of the two artists. I work with them on whispering on what they want to say, but they couldn't say. And also, I work. I actually how to say, experiment with the voices on the when I record on the protest. So you hear that the sound is a little bit weird, but they are actually how I try to abstract it, so I don't hear the exact what they say. So I try to make a kind of sound that encapsulate you, and also the cracking of the eyes. So all these little sound almost is like a crying inside, but in the more inner voice that I was looking at. But the drumming actually, firstly because I'm doing a portrait of a drama, right? And I think I always want to, a portrait is about them. So I don't want to make up who they are not. They are not. So I try to use what is her art form. And but in Chinese, we have this metaphor. When you hit the drum in the olden day, in like very very old ancient time, when you have grievance, when you have something that somebody make like a wronged, the accusation, you want to justice, you hit the drum and ask for justice.
Ah.
So it has that
Mm.
kind of thinking point. But as you look, when I juxtapose that drumming with the protest, it also have another meaning, because the drummer, the stick, is also the police stick to hit the people.
Mm.
So it has this kind of complexity when you see it. I feel for me.
Yeah, it's a great ambivalence in this in this like what can be saw as a symbolic gesture, but then you add this quite opposite meaning to it as well. Uh,
Yes.
yeah,
If you see the end, almost the end, the movements with this plastic,
uh
it was the material they used to cover their hands and body because of the tear gas.
ah.
So of course it's not literal. I did this before the protest broke out. This section of, but I see the connection, so I juxtapose. I put them in this construction.
Mm-hmm.
So in a way, the abstraction of this film has a lot of truth and materials that I got. But of course, I did it in a way that's totally abstract. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's really great when when certain elements of the film are connected, that they have very clear reference to the reality, or to certain events or interpretations of the just right now happening reality that we want to stress out. But it also works on this abstract level, uh, either as a symbol or as a way to more intuitive reading, but on this more abstract level. That's fantastic. And I will ask if maybe some of our audience or attendees have a question. Just raise your hand or write to chat. It doesn't seem so. I wanted to ask also about the text that is in the film, and uh, and it's I like when the text is not explicative, and of course it's not explicative here. It's like it's a third level of thinking added to images and to the sound. And I was wondering from where the text was it co-created by the portrait artists, or is it your text, or what is the source of these lines that appear in the images?
The text is written by me, actually.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So after I finish, while I'm editing, I'm very, I would say I'm very stream of consciousness when I edit this film. So while I was editing it, the text just came out, and I just did it in just while I'm editing, I write. So I wasn't really, really like prepare the text before, and should not. It was really through this editing process
Mm-hmm.
that I feel the text is needed to be there. I'm sorry, I couldn't give you a more intellectual answer, but it was very much like a stream of consciousness that I work on this text.
I see, definitely. It's really like it's really great when we can explore your creative method, and of course like different directors have different procedures, and some of them have like all the images framed in their head in advance, and also the particular sounds, and also the text is written in advance, and other authors have a very different approach, and the film is really partly created in the editing room, and uh, and 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 you feel an urge to add some message that is conveyed in a different mode than what
Yes,
you already included.
I actually interviewed they're both artists, and when they spoke, but I feel this film doesn't suit the really like voiceover of the usual interview. So I took another approach. So they have their voice inside. All their voice, the two voices you can hear. Or one is a whisper, and two of the voices. But what I did is I tried to connect to what they have said to me before, and then what they whisper, and then it just gave me this imagination to write this text.
Oh, oh, nice. I see. I understand. Okay, so before we close our conversation, I would like to ask you how is your and how is the social situation now, and how do you feel now in the context of the current events in Hong Kong, if you can speak about it. So how do you feel about what is happening really right now in these days?
I think we went through this whole year of turbulent up and down, but um, right now it seems very quiet because of this the new law of um, this passing of this new law, and it is worse than what we were asking, and it's a big, very big ultimatum of no to everything. And so I think um, everyone, it's I'm very sure everyone is very down, and together we can't do a lot. It's even worse than before. At least you could go out, but right now it's I don't know. It's almost like for artists especially, we have a lot of self-censorship, you know. So right now we don't know even if this is okay for me to screen. Many of my friends who shot documentaries are very afraid, also starting to get nervous. Uh, Rating of films and screening could not be done like before. So yeah, we don't know when we step on the line of this law, and because the line is changing and unambiguous. So for the creative people, it's quite serious. Yes, so I feel it's this moment is, and also COVID. So there's many complexity in this situation now, and I think there are a lot of uncertainty, anxiety as well for many people.
I see. And I have to say, I'm so terribly sorry for what you are going through, and how all the brave gestures and tryings to express the opinions and fights for freedom and for certain rights, that I feel terribly sorry
But
that there
but I think the most serious things I feel really terrible now is the breaking of society, because you have the people who support the blue and you have people who support the yellow. So in the same family, maybe your parents are pro China, like the blues, but you are yellow. And then in the society, in France, in shops, and whether you go to a supermarket, you go to any restaurant, you will check if this is yellow shop or blue shop. And that kind of dividends, and it's even worse than I feel. Personally, I feel it's worse than the bigger calamity. I think is the biggest, because it breaks the society apart. I personally think that's the most unfortunate and the saddest thing in this movement.
Yeah, that's really, yeah, it can have very long-term consequences. And I can see how this could be really, really, really hard. So I'd like to tell you that our minds and our hearts are with you. And I really hope that you creative people and artists could continue in your work. And please also you continue your work and create other films, because we are looking for them.
I'm very thankful, because this film is not a really usual documentary film. So I'm very surprised that your festival chose this film. So it's really like out of my like expectation, or it came surprise, because I did a documentary and then submitted, and that is also about this movement, but it was about the documentary, like interview of people inside the hotel, while the movement is happening outside the hotel. So it's a documentary film. But when the news came to me about that this film instead is selected, I was very surprised.
Yeah, but, thank you for pointing out your other film, that so that our audience can be aware of this. And yes, we wanted to have films that really use very different perspectives and very different creative approaches to the current events over there in Hong Kong. And we screen what we call experimental documentaries, or films that are on the border of fine art and films every year in this section, Fascinations. And this is definitely a fascinating film. So once more, thank you very much. And I hope that you can continue in your work. So I wish you much strength, and also stay healthy and stay safe. And thank you very much for being with us.
Thank you. Have a good festival.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
So, dear audience, we are now closing this Q&A session. You can see the films of Mike Hulboom and the film of Mike Hulboom and the film by Elysa Wendi. Their titles are Touch Memory Vietnam, a film by Mike Hulboom and his co-creator Josephine Berto. And the films they If You Can Go If You Must by Elysa Wendi. You can see these films online if you haven't seen them yet. And so I recommend very much. And the whole first program of Fascinations was already put online for your viewing. So you can watch the films and you can join us for another session of Q&As again tomorrow in the same time from 4 p.m. Until 5 or 5:30, depending on number of guests we are talking about. So please feel free to join us also tomorrow, and anytime you can have also your questions, and it can be a mutual debate about the films. So thank you for watching us, and stay safe.